Pardon?
I pushed it, Brenda, if you'll let us know when we're live.
I'm not seeing it yet. All right, you are now live.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Gwen Whistler. I'm the Vice Mayor and the Chair of the Boards and Commissions Committee, and I'd like to welcome you to the September 18th remote meeting. All council committee members and staff are participating virtually. We appreciate your patience as we work through holding these committee meetings a bit differently. To help our audience follow along, I'll state each section of the agenda aloud. We are streaming live on our Virtual Engagement Hub, which is accessible through the Virtual Engagement Hub link on the front page of the city website. We also have an option for the public to listen live by phone. For those of you out there with us today, welcome. For today's meeting, we have the option for people to call in and comment live during the meeting. To call in and comment live, use the same number, 855-925-2801, meeting code 9478. Your phone will be muted and you will hear the meeting live. At this point, speakers will need to push *3 to enter the speaker queue. Okay, I'll now go through and introduce all the committee members and staff who are participating virtually. Please make sure to mute your microphone if you are not speaking. When you would like to speak, unmute your microphone. Please remember to mute your microphone after speaking. Councilman Young will be joining us a little bit later. He texted me that, but Councilman Hain is there. Can you give us a greeting, Brian?
Hello.
Good morning. Assistant City Manager Richard White.
Good morning.
Good morning. Deputy City Clerk Sarah Twilliger.
Hello.
Okay. May I get, so the first section is approval of the minutes. Could I get a motion to approve the August 18th minutes?
So moved.
Great. And I will second, and I'll second that, and we'll go through a roll call. Councilman Haynes?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Whistler? Yes. Aye. So the minutes have been approved. First on the agenda, we have an update on virtual meetings submitted by report from the clerk's office. Sarah, if you could just give us a real brief overview of that, and then we'll take questions.
Yes, just very briefly, I wanted to give you an update on where we've been since COVID happened in early March. At that time, we did close down all of our meetings, again, for public health reasons. And during that time, city staff was working very hard to develop a system that we could hold these virtual meetings. Just prior to all this happening, we had contracted with Public Input, which we now use for all these meetings. They've been great to work with, and that's kind of our platform to hold these meetings. There is a newly formed production team, which is made up of myself, a CAPE member always, Brenda's behind the scenes, and then also an IT member to offer technical support for each of these meetings. So that's where we're at now. The first phase, as we were learning how to do all this, we did just open it up to quasi-judicial boards to get a feel for what this would look like. At that time, we had 19 meetings in June. Now that and then for August, it was 16, then 19. And now for the month of September, we have 24 plans. So you can see that we're gaining momentum, we're learning the system, and we'll be opening up to more meetings. But at this time, just because of the amount of staff that it does take for each of these meetings, we are asking that they be reviewed by the city manager's office, and that meetings have a very specific purpose, whether it be legal and or a city council initiative that would need to move forward to city council. So that's where we're at. We hope to keep expanding this program. We know it's very important that these committees meet, and I think we're getting there. So.
Thank you, Sarah. Is there any initiative or any hope that it would take less staff time to set these meetings up? I mean, is there anything that we're working toward that would make it a little bit more automatic? Because I mean, to have 3 staff at every one of these meetings is a lot. And I'm just wondering, is there do we see any light at the end of the tunnel in the sense of less staff?
From our perspective, yes. At the very beginning, we were all learning our roles. So hopefully we can maybe combine or cross-train and be able to do dual roles. I think we're definitely getting closer to that. So that's on the horizon. But again, it's getting comfortable with each of our roles right now. And we're also looking towards training more staff. So it's not just us 3 every time. We'll have just more hands on deck.
Councilman Young has joined us. Welcome, Keith. Do the committee members have any questions for Sarah about these remote meetings?
I don't.
Okay. Okay, then we will move on to the next section, which is several appointments to the boards and commission to recommend to full council at our September 22nd meeting. So Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. So we have 3 folks who are eligible for reappointment and interested in reappointment. And I'm assuming that attendance is within our guidelines, Sarah, for Duana Little, Parker Knight, and Barry Bialik.
Sorry
Sarah?
about that. Muted. Yes, from what I understand or what I saw, yes. And I'm sorry I do not have that in front of you.
Okay. And do we have, so there's 2 other openings. The committee did not make a recommendation to this, the AHAC did not make any recommendations. I guess when I was reading through the applications, I was interested in Brian Methvin, who works for Homeward Bound, and Michael Figura. But do any of the other committee members have thoughts on new appointees?
I would be fine with those.
Yeah, I don't have any
Okay.
objection.
Okay, great. So what we'll recommend is reappointment of Ms. Little, Mr. Smith, and Mr. Baliak, and appoint Brian Methvin and Michael Figura. Okay, so we'll move on to, and what we'll do is, if you're all okay with this, we'll walk through each of these appointments, and then at the end, we'll just do a blanket roll call, if that works. I think we've been told that would be okay. Citizens Police Academy. So we have some recommendations from the chair. And so those recommendations are to reappoint the north seat, which is Blake Marcus, appoint the south seat to Demita Wilder, and the central seat to Barbara White, and the at-large seat to Michael Beach. Any discussion on those, or do we have concurrence around those?
I would be, I would be open for the chair's recommendations from that committee.
Okay, great.
Me too.
Okay, cool. So the Historic Resources Commission has 3 openings, and the recommendation is.
When you skipped Civic Center.
I'm sorry. I skipped Civic Center. Let me go back. The Civic Center recommends the reappointment of Corey Atkins and the appointment of Nicole Lee for the vacancy. Does that work for everyone?
Yes.
Those seem like good appointments. Okay, and now we'll move to Historic Resources. So the recommendation is Sarah Gardner, Maggie Brosades, and James Vaughn Those seemed good to me. The only person I know personally is James Vaughn, and if his house has any recommendation as to wonderful preservation, that would tell me that that's a good choice. Everybody's okay with that? Okay.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, multimodal, they have not gotten a chance to, multimodal typically gives us a recommendation, and sometimes they interview the folks. So they're recommending that we just hold that open and in effect re-advertise for that until after their October meeting. And the same relative to the Neighborhood Advisory Committee. And then for the Public Arts and Cultural Commission, there's five people up and willing to be reappointed, and that's Jasmine Washington, Andrew Fletcher, Katie Cornell, Valeria Watson, and Pete Perez. Now, the committee is suggesting we re-advertise for the vacant seat, but which I'd be okay with. But I thought that Marcia Almodovar, I don't know, who works with Leaf, seemed like a good candidate. But I also could be okay with re-advertising.
I'd like to follow the recommendation of the committee.
Okay, so reappoint the 5 and just re-advertise for the remaining open seat?
Yes.
Okay,
That's what I'm
good.
thinking.
And Vice Chair?
Yes.
I'm sorry, you looked over Human Relations Commission.
My gosh, okay, so apparently I can't read this morning. Human Relations Commission, they are also recommending postponing until the committee can make some recommendations. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes, that's correct for that
Okay.
committee.
Okay, so air quality. They do not have a recommendation. We did get 3 more applications. Did anyone have a recommendation on that?
I apologize, but I have not seen the applications on that one.
Oh,
Did anyone like the applicants? You know, we were looking for someone, an environmentalist of some sort, and
Right.
or a scientist, or someone in that field.
Right.
Did any of the applicants seem to fit that?
the
Yeah.
one that stuck out for me positively was I'm looking at my notes, and I'm hoping so it's my handwriting, but Evan Kuzo or Corzo, I can't tell whether my third letter is a U or a, but he's a professor at UNC Asheville, and you know it's all about environmental, and he studies air particulates and that kind of thing for air quality. So, you know, he studies government regulations, et cetera. So I thought he indicated a knowledge of the subject, but also not really associated with business. So he was, for me, probably the one that stood out. But
Well, I could either go with him or continue it for another month. Either way, I mean,
Did you need just a little bit more time, Ryan? I mean, I know this was a concern of yours, so.
yeah. I mean, from what you
I think you need
just
to put it
told
off
me,
for a month, but-
I like what you just said. His qualifications were. So, I mean, I would be fine with going ahead and appointing him or recommending him.
okay,
I'm
where are
okay.
you on this, Keith?
I'm okay with it. I just wanted to make sure that Brian was okay with the recommendation, considering it was one he had a lot of concern over.
Right.
And again, I apologize for not having looked at that.
Okay.
My fault.
Okay, so it'll be Evan. Sarah, is it Couzo or Corzo? Again, I'm looking at my handwriting, which
Couzo.
Cou. Okay, good. Well, that was closer to what I had written down. Okay. As I get older, my handwriting gets worse, which even in my youth was bad. So I'll do a roll call to affirm our appointments. Do you want me to go over the names again, or are you all comfortable that we came up with? Can I? Okay, so let me do a roll call to go ahead with reappointing, so this for AHAC, it's reappointing Dewana Little, Parker Smith, and Barry Bialik, and appointing Brian Methvin and Michael Figura. And for CPAC, for CPAC, it is to reappoint Blake Marcus for the North seat, to appoint Demita Wilder for the South seat, for the Central seat, Barbara White, the at-large seat, Michael Beach. For the Civic Center Commission, to reappoint Corey Atkins and appoint Nicole Lee. For the Historic Resources Commission, to appoint James Vaughn, Sarah Gardner, and Maggie Brosades. For Human Relations Commission, Multimodal Transportation Commission, and Neighborhood Advisory Commission, we will re-advertise for all the seats. And for Public Arts and Cultural Commissions, we will reappoint Jasmine Washington, Andrew Fletcher, Katie Cornell, Valeria Watson, and Pete Perez, and re-advertise for the remaining vacant seat. And for the WNC Air Quality Agency, we will appoint Evan Couzo. So with that, I will do a roll call so Councilman Haynes,
Aye.
Councilman Young,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay, great. And so we're on to the next piece of the agenda, which is schedule of future meetings. October 27th at 10 a.m. and for November 24th. Sarah, what does council appointments mean?
Oh, yeah. So those are the actual, the full council in the council meeting. So I'm proposing, we kind of go back to our regular schedule where we have this boards and commissions committee meeting the same day as the council appointment day.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine. And then no December meeting, which is consistent with our history. Okay. And then
What was that November time? I'm sorry to interrupt, Gwen.
I'm sorry.
Look at my calendar. What was that time in November? Do we have something in November?
10 a.m. November 24th at 10. That's the day of a council meeting.
Yeah. I got my yearly physical scheduled that day.
Okay, well, then why don't we, Sarah, why don't you just put a doodle poll out for the three of us, and we'll set something else up for that November
I can
meeting.
still do it that day. I just didn't, it didn't jump on my calendar immediately that was when we were doing the boards and commissions for some reason.
Oh,
Right.
and
It's
this
between
is
9
what
and 10 a.m. in the morning.
is there perhaps another time that day?
Yes, I can do any other time that day
Perfect.
if that works for everybody. If not, I'll reschedule my.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing, I tentatively just have a finance committee meeting at 1:30, but, so, I mean, if it's not a long meeting, maybe we can go back to, 4:00. Or because they're remote, does it take a lot more time
It's
ahead
a
of
little
time?
bit of a transition time with the production team because
Right.
All
So
right,
you
let
can't do it.
I'll try to move my stuff around and I'll get with Sarah and keep the date tentative. Keep
Okay, and
keep
if
the same
if
date.
you
and I'll
can't
just
do it,
move my
we'll
stuff.
just, okay, if you can't do it, we'll just figure out some other
We'll
time.
figure. And that's the November meeting. Are we all okay with the proposed October 27 at 10 a.m.? And that's also a council day.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay.
And both should be short meetings as far as appointments. So that's
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. Well, I guess the next meeting, the December meeting, that's going to be a whole new council. So that may be
I'm down to 2 meetings.
yeah, you're down to 2 meetings and I'm probably down to, yeah. So, yeah. Okay. All right. So now we'll move to public comment. So, we have not gotten any pre-recorded or written comments before this meeting, but we'll take live comments now for up to an hour. Do we have anyone on the speaker queue?
You had one, but they left, so now you have 0.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right. Well, then I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
thanks all.